Hello, and welcome to the Holistic Living, Learning, and Loving podcast, where we are bringing you back to the basics.
We explore sustainable living and holistic health and strive for progress, not perfection.
So please join us on a wellness journey and feel empowered to make positive changes in your life.
Get him to bring them.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so glad that you're back. We have a really exciting thing to talk about today. I'm really pumped about it. I feel like it's really applicable to what we're going through, and you'll see why that is. But we appreciate you. We hope that you take some time. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please, check out some other podcasts that we did before. We talk about so many different things, a wide range of things like food, and we talk about meditation, and we talk about homeschooling and herbal medicine, and what am I missing? So many different things.
Basically, we just, holistic living, loving, and learning.
Yeah, it's just a lot of different topics. There's something for anyone, I really feel like. And if there's something that resonates with you, please click on it and check it out.
Yeah.
So today we are going to really talk about connections with people and how to build relationships and how to work through the dynamics of a relationship, because, it takes a lot to effectively communicate with people and to maintain relationships for long periods of time, even with your own family. And I can say that firsthand because Rachel and I I wouldn't even say that we got into it or called like we got into a tiff or anything like that. But Rachel and I, a few weeks ago, we kind of just had, I don't know, grievances to air.
Huh?
Grievances to air.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Just things that needed to be said, probably.
Yeah. So Rachel had some things she said, and, it was also like I had feelings before. We did a recording and it was just like totally off.
Yeah.
I was off towards you. You were off towards me. It was just weird. And then you said some things that you needed to get off your chest. And, it was hard. It was hard to hear, like, in all honesty, that, and we talked about it and moved past it and all that stuff. But it was all true stuff. And it was stuff, I journaled about what was said and how I impacted that. And, I'm really big into constantly thinking like I've made something happen, it's my fault, or I had a part in it, or somehow it all comes back to being about me. So I journaled about that, and I thought that was really great because it allowed me to really think about it and think about what was going on inside of me at the time and be able to talk to you about it, because it was such a difficult conversation. But I think that it ended up being a great resolution, and we got way closer than we were before that. And that was like a huge thing,
Yeah. And so, like, for me, I was just so caught up on our differences.
Mm-hmm.
It was just bothering me. It was things I wanted to say but didn't say because, I don't like conflict or confrontation of any kind. So I'm like typical of just letting things bottle up and let it build into resentment.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I was resentful towards you or anything, but I do that with people typically.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just things I should have expressed beforehand. But I was just so caught up on like differences and not feeling understood. But once I finally, it was consuming me, I felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really pulling me away from our relationship.
Yeah.
And once I said it, I didn't know that once I said it, I would feel differently. But we talked about it, and I've got to say, like, we work really, like, we're very easy to communicate with. I could see that not going well with other people. We're very, like, we can talk like adults.
Yeah.
But once I said it, I felt so much better. And then I felt like after I said that, I was able to focus on all the things we had in common. And I wasn't focused on those things anymore. Yeah. It just had to be said for some reason. I felt like I needed it to be known. I don't know. I still don't know why. but I
I
felt
know, and it's
better.
funny too, because like in the moment of what you were saying about our differences, and this was going on in a time where the election just happened. We do have a lot of differences in politics and parenting and so many different things that you brought up.
Yeah.
But I never really think about it like that with you. I've always only thought about our commonalities. I guess maybe I don't dwell a lot on differences. I always find a way that I'm like connected to someone in some way. But and I think that was also like really hard, a part of the reason why it was hard with our little thing. um but yeah, it was okay. And at first there was snippets of time when I was upset, like really upset. And things go in your head like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do the podcast anymore. But then that felt very retaliatory. And
Yeah.
it wasn't how I felt. It wasn't what I wanted to do or anything like that. But we can't get caught up in that as people trying to retaliate and do things that doesn't even bring pleasure to you to do,
Yeah.
just because you're upset.
Because that comes out of pride, and I always say that I try to teach my kids that revenge is for the weak. Not that we all want, like, a part of us always, everybody
Yeah.
always wants revenge a little bit,
Or
but
like karma.
yeah, but we have to get past that, because in the end that never makes you really feel better. That it wouldn't
Yeah.
make me really feel better. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there would be like, oh, that'll make me feel better. I know some people will say that,
That's
but
funny. But
yeah.
so yeah, we had the talk, and afterwards I got the journal out and I journaled about it. And whenever I journal, I'm always very self-aware. And like I said, thinking everything's about me. And
Mhm.
so I put like how I felt about it, and what's really under this. And also with me, I'm very connected to people. And I had to ask myself, why am I so connected? Because part of the issue was that I'm just very connected. I want to text every day and I want to be like BFFs and all that stuff. And that could be a bit much. And you are more introverted and you want your privacy. Um, and so I had to ask myself, why do I want to be so connected to someone else? Am I looking elsewhere for my connection that should be filled inside, or with my own immediate, like with the girls and Mike? And so it really brought some fundamental things to my vantage point too. So it was
Yeah.
good. It was
It
all good
that
stuff.
Well, that's I feel like that is the key to any time you're having a disagreement with someone, or not even a disagreement, just like whatever, some kind of thing,
Yeah.
confrontation.
Grievances,
Yeah. You should
complaints.
always try to look inward,
Yes.
and not only try to figure out why are they the way that they are, but try to figure out why you reacted the way you are, even if you think you're right or whatever the
Hmm.
situation is. Like, always try to be self-aware, like, and analyze yourself,
Yeah.
because
And is there any validity in their claims? Is there
yeah,
anything in there? Like maybe it's a little over the top, but maybe there's some nugget of truth in what they said that you
yeah,
could be aware of.
and it'll help you to better yourself. If you could listen to people instead of being defensive, you'll always come out a stronger person in the end.
Yes, in so many ways too, because some people out there do mess with you. I mean, I
Yeah.
have only come across very few of these type of people, but and try to get a reaction out of you, and then pin it on you. You reacted this way or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like if you can just be calm in the situation and input what they're saying and not just react, take the pause and think, then you'll come out way better. And that goes with I mean, that goes with my kids. If I can just pause before I react, then it's
Yeah.
golden, you
Yeah, I
know?
mean, sometimes we don't even need to get back with them right away. We could just say, let
Yeah.
me
Let me
sit on
think
this
about
for a
that.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what happened with us. We
Yeah.
kind of talked for a while and then it was like we both kind of needed to think about that.
Yeah, we probably sat thinking about that for a week. I know I did.
I don't think it was that long.
I mean, not like straight, but on and off for a while. I just sit there and think about things, you
Hmm.
know.
Oh, I thought about, and I also talk to people about it a lot. I talked to Mike and I talked to my dad and I
Yeah.
talked to my friend, and like I kind of have all these sounding boards that I talk about it with. And they're not, most people are not just like, oh, yeah, I'm on your side or whatever.
You have
Like,
to
it's
pick
not
who
like
you
that.
talk to. You know, you have to be careful
Yeah.
not to talk to someone who you know is just going to pick your side. That's
Yeah.
why I'll tell people, is that, like, a lot of times if I go to talk to Nick because he'll tend to want to take my side, I'm like, don't just
Yeah.
take my side because you love me. Like, I want to know the truth.
That's funny. Yeah, I think Mike probably does that too. But
Yeah.
also he'll tell me the truth about it and how he really
Yeah.
feels. But then also he doesn't want to see me sad, and
Yeah.
I think he will take it personally if someone hurt my feelings a lot, because he just doesn't want that to happen.
I know.
And he can tell I have a big heart and that like stuff hurts me and that I am very overly sensitive about a lot of things. So he doesn't like to see that. Um, but yeah, my dad was funny. He was like, "So are you guys gonna make a podcast?" He was like, "Don't even think about saying anything but yes," because he was just like, "Don't." But it was totally fine. It was never gonna be that.
Yeah.
So um so it was great. And then afterwards, like we've been recording, and the first episode was kind of a little like I feel like our relationship wasn't on point for the first probably like 10 or 15 minutes, and then it eased back and we kind of got back and the routine and stuff. And then luckily Rachel and I are super lucky to be going on very spiritual journeys together at the same time, and we're really interested in a lot of cool spiritual stuff right now. So
Yeah,
um,
and that's giving us common ground. You know what I mean? We don't always have to, like, always so focus on our differences. So we don't have to talk about our differences. Our relationship doesn't have to be based on those things,
mhm,
but we do have things that we have a lot of things that we do have in common, and things that
mhm,
our relationship can be centered around. And that goes with anybody. I guess we have to keep our relationships where they're relevant.
mhm.
Does that make sense? Or
Yeah, don't go into weird territory with someone is not ready to receive that message.
yeah, yeah. Or like even just trying to relate with them on something that you know that they're not going to relate with,
Yeah. I mean, it's
or
like you can kind of skirt around to see the feeling, but if you
yeah,
know for sure that it just doesn't vibe. But, there's always going to be situations that you still go into uncharted territory,
yeah.
and that's life. And you should be able to, and work through it the way we have,
Just have to
because,
keep realistic expectations of
yes.
relationships.
So, and a big part of that and talking to people and dealing with people, not even just friends, but just the general public of people, is that everybody is going through their own stuff.
Yeah.
No one knows what your partner's thinking about, or anybody for that matter, and what things people have been through, what trauma, like real huge traumas, or even just being sick, or you just don't even know. And you get this idea that you do, but even with kids, you don't even know what your kids have been through during the day when you're sending them to school, and what little things have accumulated that have just gone totally wrong, and they feel beat down by the world in their own way.
Yeah.
And then things happen later when you get home, they're acting out, and it's not because they're just like, you know, bad kids. It's because they've had all these like micro transgressions, is what I call them at home. And they're beat
Yeah.
down.
And also, just like, we all come from different walks of life, and I feel
Mhm.
like that's hard for a lot of people to understand, including myself. It's hard to stay aware of that at all times in relationships, and just know we just the life we've lived really shapes the way we view the world, and the way we communicate, the way we are, everything.
Mhm.
And that makes us all just so uniquely different, and of course that's going to cause misunderstandings, and us not understanding why people are the way that they are. But that's why it's so important to be aware that we all come from different walks of life, and that not everybody has to think and do like we do, and
Yeah.
maybe try to, rather than focus on the differences, that what I've been trying to do is try to focus on our commonalities, and just tell myself I love this person, which seems weird, but focus on the things I like about them, and
Mhm.
try to just come from a place of love rather than a place of, not, I'm not saying hate, but it's not that, but it's just like, indifference. Or is indifference the right word?
Yeah, like you don't even care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can be hard to, there's certain relationships that are more trying than others. There's certain energies that are just, that even going into family get togethers and stuff like that, there could be different energies that you don't vibe with as well. But it's always good to try to focus on that good thing that you like about that person.
Yeah,
The
and you
one
can,
thing you can talk about, any little topic that you have something in common with them.
and then you become a better and more well-rounded person when you start to explore different people, even people that you wouldn't vibe with or people that you have anything in common with. It teaches you more about the world and why people are the way that they are, and it teaches you to love more, right, and accept more, because
Mm-hmm.
the more you get to know people that you don't vibe with or relate to, you start to become more, you start to not see them as this annoying figure that you can't stand or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is that you don't like them. You start to see them for just being a normal human who's just different than you, if that makes sense.
And then family get togethers and things like that. And, having bad energy or whatever. And maybe it's not even just that it's like bad energy, but it's that like maybe they aren't on the spiritual path you're
Yeah.
on, or maybe they don't understand things that you are enlightened about. And that can be really hard too. And it's because a lot of people, they're suffering, they're suffering with illness or with depression or other things like that. And it's hard. I'm a very empathetic person, and I clue into that so strongly. And I think that it in the past has kept me away from a lot of events because I felt that way. Even with you, whenever you're going through addiction, like that's hard. And it's easier to just kind of be able to turn a blind eye and not be around people because of that. But I would rather, I think lately, since we've done the podcast, and really the mission here is to bring enlightenment to people that are suffering everywhere, in our own family and lots of different places. And so I'm not going to not be around anybody because of that. I'm trying to say what I can and help them be a little more enlightened, but don't take it too far. And
Yeah.
that causes a lot of friction because it's hard because some people don't receive that. But
Yeah.
there's certain people that do ask for advice, and I'm like, yes, I'll give that.
Sometimes it's just planting a seed. I like to
Yes.
just say short little, if someone, is talking about something they're struggling with or whatever, I'll say something short and sweet
Hmm.
that kind of plants the seed. I'll see how they react. And if they seem to want to know more, I'll elaborate. If they don't, at least I'll know that I put that seed there. And
Yeah.
sometimes I watch it grow. Like I'll see them kind of come around to that. And
Hmm.
they might not that they maybe willingly looked into it, but when you plant seeds in people's minds, sometimes it just kind of grows on its own and they
Hmm.
just start to gravitate towards that,
Yeah.
you know? It's
Yes.
interesting stuff. But
I really like that, and that's something that I practice. Another thing to be careful of is that maybe you have difficult, strained relationships with people, but understanding that you can't control their feelings or their actions or anything like that. That they're their own person. I mean, I'm like really struggle with this, so I say it out loud. But we aren't in control of that, and we can't make somebody happy or anything.
I struggle with that too, but kind of differently. Like, not in the way that you do. I struggle with it as in, I don't like the way people react sometimes. Like, I don't understand. And I
Hmm.
get frustrated with the way that they are. And I don't like that about myself. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's
Hmm.
something I'm working on. And so lately I've just been trying to make myself understand that I can't, obviously I can't control them, and not, nor should I.
Hmm.
Who's to say that they should be the way that I want them to be, that I'm only coming from my point of view. And
Hmm.
it's all about respect. Like, we need to respect people for who they are and where they are. And that just because the way they are frustrates us and we don't like it or we don't think it's right, doesn't necessarily mean that we're right. We
Yeah.
don't know what's best for them, or what, that they control their own lives, and we need to respect that and their
Mm,
decisions.
yes, I
And that's
agree
helped
with
me a
that.
lot, I think.
But I am a big control freak. So I struggle with that. And only my parents know, and probably Mike and my girls know the true extent of the iron fist. But I feel like in accepting people for who they are and all of those things is that any relationship that you nurture and you love should grow. I mean, as long as you both are doing that, I think you should see a relationship grow. And that goes for new friends and um like a love partnership. What do you call that?
I don't
Your
know.
significant other, your
Why we couldn't think
family.
of that.
What?
I was like, why couldn't we think of what that's called?
Significant other. Yeah, so anything that you give your attention and your love and your nurturing to, you should be able to grow that relationship, and whether it could be anywhere. Um, I try to put a lot of intentionality with my relationships lately and try to nurture them and try to um, lift people up. You know, I've said on one of our past podcasts is whenever I see somebody doing a really good job, you know, I'll tell them, I'll be like, you're such a good parent. You're doing such a good job. You know, I like when people say nice stuff to me. So I like to give it back.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes to hear nice things.
Yeah. As adults, we don't tell each other, you know, when it's a kid, you're telling them they're doing a good job for the most ridiculous things. But as an adult, we should be doing that on the things that really matter, like parenting. When you see someone handle a situation like a boss, man, it's like, I just go up to them, like, you handled that like really good.
And that really does make a big difference in how they feel about themselves. Like, that is such a huge thing
Yeah.
to receive a compliment as an
Yeah.
adult.
And then also too, sometimes when you see the mom struggling and her kids just tantruming and stuff, being like, "You got this. It's
Yeah.
okay. You know, it's okay." We've all been there and had the kid flipping out and been embarrassed and all that stuff. So sometimes it's makes them feel better because you know a lot of people are in their own heads and thinking, "Oh God, these people think this about me," and all
Yeah.
these negative
That's what I was about to say.
thoughts.
Like, they already think everybody's judging them. And if you come around and make them feel like you're not and
Yeah.
it's okay, then that's going to relieve a lot of pressure.
And on the reverse side of that, well, not the reverse, but I was at a store one time and that was happening. And I didn't say anything to the lady because sometimes it's like, you know, just keep your mouth shut, you know?
Yeah.
But after she walked out, the like cashier like said something like, "Oh my God." And I was like, dude, do you know how hard she's working right now? Because it was like major or something. And I was like, I give her mad respect because I wouldn't want to deal with that right now.
Yeah.
So, um, so I talked before about when the energy is difficult, when someone is difficult and strains you in some way that you feel bad or their energy is not the best or whatever, but you know, it's family or it's a long friend or whatever, you can still love someone. It doesn't mean you have to hang out with them all the time.
Yeah. I'm big on that. If you don't connect with any, like, if it's going to be a forced relationship or this relationship doesn't bring you peace or it brings you turmoil or just makes you just takes steals peace from your life in any kind of way, then, you know, love them from a distance,
Mm-hmm.
send them good energy, keep it
But you should still
simple.
be able to do holidays around them or something, you
Yeah.
know, at least dedicate, not dedicate, but you can do one event a year, I would think, just to stay connected with your family and stuff like that, if that's who you struggle with. But then again, there are people that have really toxic
Yeah.
relationships and they just have to say sayonara. And I had to do that for a while with my mom. And luckily, that is not the case. She is literally staying with us for a week right now. But I've had to go no contact for like a year with her.
You have to do what's best for you,
Yeah.
and just make sure you're being self-aware and you're evaluating if
The
your
reasons
intentions are
why.
good or not,
Yeah.
if you're just being petty or spiteful, because that's not right. But really evaluate if it's because this relationship is hurting you in some kind of way.
Yeah, and I feel like now that I said it, I'm thinking in retrospect, was that really valid? But I don't know. We had a lot of issues at that time, and maybe we should have done therapy together instead of going no contact. But luckily now we are really coming together, and that's wonderful.
That's
So.
great.
But with family, especially, and even friends, just because you, and we touched on it, like you don't believe and think the same things, doesn't necessarily mean that you can't still love and care for each other. I have a family member who is really upset about politics specifically. And it's a very charged discussion of both sides. It's just, you honestly can't come to terms and there's no need to talk about it or anything like that. And I was trying to tell that person, everybody's still good people and you still have to love them because at the end of the day, they're still good people. And you have to think about that whenever you have so much animosity towards someone for just the most craziest reasons, because really that's not a good reason to have so much animosity. It's just so divisive. but you still love people. People are still good people. Like, there are bad people out there, but just because they believe something that's different from you doesn't make them bad,
And
you
you have
know?
to remind yourself of that, because honestly, it is easy to fall into that trap of
Yes.
like starting to have a lot of animosity towards people, because
Hmm.
especially in politics, you start to think like, oh, how could they think that way and whatever.
Yeah.
And you start to follow that, you
And
start to go
religion
down
and
that road.
stuff.
Huh?
Like, people get like that about religion too, you
Oh
know?
yeah, like all of the core topics, you know? Yeah. So it's something you constantly have to remind yourself. I know I do. I have to remind myself that these are still good people.
Hmm.
You know, they're not what my head is starting to make them out to be.
Yes, because like you can make somebody like the villain in your
Yeah,
movie, you know?
you really can. I know I have, and and it's like at the same time I know I'm wrong. You know,
Hmm.
like it's like it feels so wrong, and so that's what led me to start working on that. Not the way I talk about it. By the way, I don't have a ton of people that I'm just so annoyed with. It's I've gotta put that out there. It's just because I'm actually a very easygoing person, and I'm not used to having conflicts with people. But when I do, it gets to me, you know?
Oh my God. I get so affected by people just all the time. Like, and conflicts are awful. I can't stand it. But then also, I struggle with speaking up for myself when I feel like I should, because that's another thing is when you don't like conflict, but you feel like someone has totally disrespected you in some way, that it's hard to speak up for yourself because you don't want to get confrontational
Yeah.
about it. You don't want them to have a reaction that you're not prepared to deal with.
Yeah.
But then it's like you feel like it's unjust, you know?
Yeah, and then you start, that was my problem, is like you, and then you start to get resentful
Hmm.
because you're not addressing the things that you need to talk about, because you're trying to avoid conflict, but you're just making the conflict worse, or you're going to make the relationship fall apart.
Yeah, because you're like vilifying the person.
Yeah.
And yeah, then the relationship starts to disintegrate. Also, you're not texting as often or talking or whatever. If you're really close to someone, then that just starts to go by. And over time, either you realize what you miss or you just kind of stay pushing that person away. And
Yeah.
it can be very easy to get disassociated with someone.
Yeah,
So,
but the more you start to confront those issues and speak on it and actually have those conversations, the easier they become. And if you're worried about someone becoming defensive, you know, I can't say that this will always work. I know some people are just extremely defensive and
mhm,
won't come around to any kind of adult conversation, but I find like you have to really, if you come to it to the conversation with really good intentions and
mhm,
good energy, to where you're coming from a problem solving type of, what is
capacity.
that, like just problem solving energy rather than
Yeah,
attacking,
yeah.
then they'll reciprocate at least a little. You know, it'll definitely guide it into being less confrontational, because
Mhm.
they, you know, it's all about your tone. I mean, even your tone of voice, or just your mannerisms, everything. You have to watch all of that if you want to keep it to be constructive and effective and
Yeah.
actually get somewhere in the conversation.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of different ways that can go awry. If I was going to have a confrontation and I knew it was going to be difficult, I guess maybe it would probably be good to write it down, write your feelings
Oh
down,
yeah, definitely, I
and
agree.
then wait until a day goes by or so. And do you still feel that way? Did your feelings change a little bit? And then proceed. And then maybe in the past, I feel like I've written it down, but writing can be touchy because you can't guarantee how they're going to perceive the message. Like the
Yeah.
intonation and stuff like that of your words is a
Yeah.
big deal.
But I find, like, I'm glad you said that, because that is something I have always done as far as I can remember. Well, at least in my adult life. That if I'm feeling really strongly about something towards someone, I'll write it down like I'm writing it to them,
Hmm.
but I don't send it to them, and I don't even intend to tell them at the time. And then I sit on it for a while, and like you said, I'll evaluate later if I still feel that way, because a lot of times a lot of the things you say, you're like, you know, I don't even actually feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
I was probably just angry when I said that,
Hmm.
or whatever it is. And but then also writing it down actually helps you to remember the key points of what you of the message you're trying to get across too, so that
Mm-hmm.
when you do finally have that conversation, it helps you to properly convey it. I feel,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I don't know, it's just very helpful.
I think it is. And it keeps you from saying things that you'll regret later. And just as a good practice to marinate on something before, because yeah, confrontations are hard. And also, like, dealing with people that are really defensive is really hard.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
know.
haven't mastered that yet.
Sometimes with people like that, you just have to stand your ground, like the advice I've given someone recently was just to keep planting seeds about how you feel, but in a non-aggressive way.
No, yeah.
And just, I guess, help them to understand that you're firm and feeling that way. And if they can't come around to that, then the relationship is gonna fall apart. And they can come around to it in their own time. Give them the space. Give them, say how you feel, but give them the space to sit on it and come around. Because defensive people just want to argue.
Yeah.
Basically say how you feel and then just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But say it in a non-aggressive way. And then anytime that the problem arises, I would just stay firm in how you feel and stay non-aggressive, because defensive people want you to be aggressive, because then that gives them the okay to blow up.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, the flip side of the coin is about meeting new people because that's really important too. There's lots of new people out there in the world, just so many people. I just firmly believe that if you have enough time and space with someone, you have commonalities, you can build a major connection with people.
Yeah.
I connect with people all the time. I'm constantly making friends out of random places. And my biggest advice is if you're an introvert, go sit next to the extrovert, go sit next to someone that's intriguing you. If you're single, go sit next to, I was at the gymnastics class, right? And all the moms are sitting up there. I mean, I guess not in the singles situation, or maybe it could be. Um, but I like always get intrigued by some mom. I like the way she looks. I like the way she dresses. I just think she looks cool or seems cool. I don't know, for some reason. And I'll go sit next to them and just try to start talking to them. So I really believe in just going next to the people that you want to know about. Don't just stick with the person just because you've known them forever. Some people do that even though they don't really vibe with someone. They'll do it because it's common territory.
Yeah.
But I'm just all about putting myself out there. Can't help
I
it.
see. It's hard for me because I just don't have the desire to.
Yeah.
I just don't. A lot of, I don't know, I can't speak for all introverted people. I guess, there are some introverts that are lonely and want relationships, but they don't know how because they're
Yeah, but
introverted.
even if, like, see, because Mike's really introverted like that too, and I feel like he would never, he feels like you do. He's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, but that's okay too. You don't have to want to, like, I do like enjoy relationship, like meeting new people and stuff, but I also don't feel the desire to go meet new people all the time.
Yeah.
I guess it's just, if
I
you
don't
want to
feel the
meet new
desire to
people.
meet new people at the grocery store.
Huh? What?
I don't feel the desire to meet new people at like
uh
the grocery store.
I mean, so I guess when I started bringing my kids to like the homeschool community around here for the
Hmm.
first time, I wanted to meet people, because this is basically like a second family that you're going to
Yeah.
be around all the time. And I really wanted to find some moms that I could relate to and enjoy being around and talk to. I don't want to just show up over there and stand alone.
Yeah.
And I wanted my kids to become friends with their kids and have like a community. So in that situation, yeah.
I
And
guess like
luckily I sat next to some introverts, not on purpose though, and they found me.
that you mean extroverts found
Oh
you.
yeah, extroverts, sorry.
I always like I don't go out just being chatty with, I mean I do sometimes with like a store clerk, like someone checking me out or something like that. It just depends. I always have something I think that's witty to say, I feel like. But I just see something about someone and I just want to talk to them. I don't know.
I
I'll
mean,
find something interesting about someone and just need to get in their vicinity.
yeah, I do find people interesting.
I'm
I
like
get
forever intrigued by people. I'm like constantly trying to figure it out. I'm like trying to figure out this new friend that I made at one of the girls' classes. I just can't figure it out.
See, I'm just very socially awkward though. See, you're
Yeah.
witty and you can come up with things to say like that. My problem is my brain works very slow. I've always been that way. I'm kind of like a, I consider myself very intelligent, but I'm also a slow learner.
Hmm.
I have to learn a certain way. I have to teach myself, and I cannot. If you say something to me, sometimes it takes me a while to even think of what to say to you. I'm social. I just feel very socially awkward,
That's
and
funny.
so that'll make me run from a conversation immediately. Like somebody might try to talk to me, and then I have no idea what to say, so I just say some kind of very generic response, and I'm just
Like in the
blank.
conversation now, it's like, okay.
Yeah, like I'm just blank. And then so it's that kills conversations pretty quick for me because I
Yeah.
just don't know what to say. Later, I might think about something I could have said an hour later.
I'm like that with confrontation. I just feel like it's good to open yourself up and be open to new relationships with people.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, I just think people are cool and I love to hear people's story and I love to hear the funny stuff. Like the funny, I'm like, tell me the funniest thing that's ever happened to you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I never regret um, talking to someone and getting to know someone new. It's not like I ever regret it, you know. I
Yeah.
definitely always enjoy getting to know new people. I just don't personally seek it out.
And then I always feel like I mean, I can't speak to like the single community. I've been with a person for a really long time, I guess. And maybe that makes me like not able to speak to it. Kind of like I can't speak about a certain ethnicity of people or whatever because I don't, what do I know, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like, at least as an extrovert, you have to go after what you want. If you see someone, don't let them slip away and not initiate a conversation or at least get in their vicinity and try to like spark something. Because whenever Mike and I met, we were in class a long time ago, like in 2009, and I'd broken up with the person that I was with for a while longer. So I was single for that moment. And then this cute guy walks in class and I was like, oh, he's cute. Look at him. He had glasses on. He's so cute. And the next class, I dressed all cute in my stripper heels and God knows what I was wearing. Probably like it was the fall, so it's probably like a black skirt and like tights and like like 4 inch heels. And I like ran after him after class. I was like, "Hey," because he was getting away. And so I just was like, "What's up?" You know, like who cares? Like the worst thing someone can tell you is like they're not interested. You
Yeah.
know, but I'm a big I get myself out there in certain situations, but like with work, I can't do that. Like go to like a mixer with a bunch of real estate agents and try
Why
to like
not?
I don't know. It's so weird. I guess it is weird. I'm good one
Yeah.
on one, but in a crowd, I don't like to be around a crowd.
Oh,
But if I can just go be a one on one with someone, it's perfect for
yeah.
me. So get near them. Don't be afraid to spark a conversation, you know, and then it's funny because we're talking about all these things and our cousin Joyce, she has this tarot reading that she does and it's really geared towards connections with people in singles but also people that are just navigating through relationship issues and stuff like that. And she does these live tarot readings. I know she did one last Friday. Her YouTube channel is Shadow by You Tarot and Conjure, and she does these lives. And I listened into a couple. I tried to like wait for my sign to see what she says. I don't know if you have to like be on the call when she does the reading, probably.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I know you can watch them afterwards. I would say like our cousin Joy, she's a very interesting and fun person. So if you have any
Yes,
interest in tarot
the
card
way
reading,
that
she'd be
she
fun.
interacts is really fun.
Yeah.
She's very personable and I find her so funny and enamoring, but she really gives a lot of advice to people. She's really popular and
Yeah.
people really get a lot from her message. So
Check her out.
I really like it. And I'm going to listen to the next one and see if it resonates with me, depending
Yeah, I
on what
know.
it is. Because one of them was like love or lust, and I'm not feeling very lusty right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
I think the
Um,
tarot stuff's pretty cool. I think there's this little kit I saw. It was like tarot for beginners on how to do it. There's one that this lady does, Consciously Aaron. She does these Schumann responses for every day. And it shows a graph of the energy coming from, I think it's coming from the center of the earth.
yeah. I've
And they
been
have
watching
a,
her since you sent me that video.
yeah, I watch her every day, but she does this graph and it shows you the energy that came and maybe what could be associated with it, like feelings or different stuff. And then she'll do a tarot reading, but her tarot cards are really cool. I really like them
Yeah.
because it's like focus on like your true power today and manifest good outcome, just nice things. I don't know, very positive messages.
I've always found tarot card readings interesting. I've never done one, but I'd like to
I
do
know,
one.
me either. Oh no, Joyce actually did one for me.
Oh yeah,
We did
that's
it over the
true.
phone,
Yeah.
and she was like, I remember feeling so inspired when I finished with it. It just pumped me up and made me feel like I was capable of making changes that I needed to make. And
Yeah.
so it was really good. I want to do another one.
That's awesome. I need to do one.
And then I want to get some tarot cards. Maybe I'll start whipping them out in the morning.
Yeah.
It's part of, I'll just add it to my routine.
Yeah. Before you know it, your routine's gonna last half the day. I know. I gotta be careful. I'm like always. My morning routine is so long.
I know. And then some days I just don't have it in me. Like this morning, I couldn't get with the program. I listened to a lot of Wisdom Nuggets videos, but
I just woke up late this morning. I didn't want to get up, which is not. I usually don't. I slept till almost 7, which is very late for me.
wow. Yeah, I felt like that this morning too. I just couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
So when I feel like I can't get out of bed, I start playing meditations and those wisdom nuggets videos on YouTube and just like play them. And then I'll just fall back asleep but I'm absorbing it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because today I was doing that and it's ones that I've listened to multiple times, but I would wake up for certain parts of it. And I mean, he changes different topics. And one of them this morning, I woke up on this very specific, very beginning of a topic. And I was like, wow, did I need to hear that topic, really be present in it? So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I can't be playing videos in the morning or all the kids are going to be up. I'm trying to get my alone time in the morning.
Oh, like they would hear it from your
Yeah,
phone?
because all
Well,
of our
bring your
rooms are.
headphones.
All I
Bring your
have is
headphones.
these. Oh, I don't know about these. I can't. These don't wouldn't even connect to my phone.
If Mike is sleeping, if he's going to be in the bed and I can't wake up on my own time, because he usually wakes up way earlier than me and he's not there, so I can do whatever I want. And the girls are far away and sleeping. But I'll just bring my headphones next to the bed so that I can plug it in and listen sometimes when I just don't want to get up.
Yeah,
Couldn't work out, not happening for me.
which is fine.
It is fine.
Because the
I'm
more you make it,
thing.
yeah, like something you have to do, it's a chore. Then it's a chore.
Yeah.
We don't need more
But it is
chores.
good to do the morning routine. I really strongly recommend it when
Yeah.
you are in the right headspace for it. Today was not the day for me. I did a lot of stuff, but just not everything that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then also, today's the first day it's been sunny in a couple days, and it's nice to get out in the sun and go and appreciate the sun. It's like where I'm at, it's like crystal clear blue skies, and
Oh yeah.
trying to make a point to get out there several times today and just bask in the sun.
I noticed how clear the skies were this morning.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We hope that you receive this message just in time for the holidays to help you better prepare for lots of one on one time with people that you love and hopefully making new relationships with new people, because that's really fun too. So please like, subscribe, please share with a friend if you feel like they, could use any of the stuff that we talked about today. Share with a family member. Maybe you can subtly get a message across. Who knows?
Yeah.
It could work. So thank you guys, and we will see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.